War Stories has some of the best and most ambitious and gutsy storytelling in this series. And so I suppose that you would be surprised that a Firefly-obsessed critic like myself would not place this episode at the top of a list of favorites. In my opinion, the episode also sags a bit with some of the torture scenes that seem to be too gutsy. They're better at simply shocking us than at anything else. I often like to judge the quality of a TV show or a movie based on how little the quality degrades on the second or third time I view it. Both War Stories and Bushwhacked lose something the second time around when I know what to expect from the plot. At the same time, I shouldn't diss this episode too much. All Firefly episodes are made to lose a bit on the second viewing. That's by design, because there are other layers to the drama that we get to enjoy, and often enjoy more, when the shocking parts aren't so shocking anymore. War Stories has a lot to say about camaraderie and violence, and there are some truly great bits of humor that can make you think, laugh, and jump in your seat at the same time. Don't count this one out just because some of the violence is unnecessary. Violence and those people who perpetrate it have a place in great drama.
Shut up!
There's nobody sets foot on my boat that I don't meet him. Don't worry, I'm not going to start any sword fights. I'm over that phase.
I'd appreciate it if you'd keep the others from ogling.
One of you is going to fall and die, and I'm not cleaning it up.
Malcolm's parenting skills may leave something to be desired, but this last line gives us our first indication in this episode of Malcolm Reynolds' cavalier attitude toward violence. This may not seem like a big deal in an episode that features a lot more than just Mr. Reynolds and his attitudes, but this particularly grim and relatively humorless episode needs this man to pop in with one-liners like this. Later on, he gets tortured while joking about starting a book club, and this skilled actor helps bring home the action in more of a visceral way. He is always hiding something, but his face betrays it all. I may be getting ahead of myself, but this is the plucky hero that later we are all hoping to rescue, and it is no small thing that he gives us something fun to rescue.
What did you think of it?
Of what?
My idea. Call the local MDs. Forget the fence, go straight to the source. Better prices, and we know the drugs get to the right people.
Captain thinks it'll get back to someone.
Wash is doing something that pops up often in Firefly. Characters in lesser action-adventure TV shows are usually either always doing the right thing or always not. Wash is trying to do the right thing. And some people like Wash are important in this nasty little verse. How people react to this moral man says a lot about them. We don't need to know about the specifics of his scheme here, but Firefly gives it to us anyway because it is important for us to understand the moral landscape.
You're losing the higher ground here, sweet cakes.
I'm sure you and Mal will take that hill and fortify it with the...
Wash is a melodramatic guy, but it's also true to say that Joss Whedon and company have a penchant for making petty melodramatic disputes seem to be a bit more important.
I can.
Maybe this works a bit better in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where the disputes are usually petty, but where they are also dealing with the familiarity and poignancy of teenage life.
No what?
No, sir.
But Wash and this episode of Firefly both have a silliness and an earnestness that is sometimes quite funny and sometimes quite meaningful.
Thought I might take this run instead, me and the captain.
The captain who's standing right here telling you that's not going to happen?
Well, it's a dangerous mission, sir. I can't stand the thought of something happening that might cause you two to come back with another thrilling tale of bonding and adventure. I just can't take that right now.
Okay. I'm lost. I'm angry, and I'm armed. So if you two have something that you need to work
All right,
out...
sir.
What's more important to me in this scene, however, is Malcolm. Like the dinner scene in Out of Gas, there is often a character who sits in the background and gets annoyed at everyone.
Come on, these ain't feathers I'm toting here, you know?
Jane also does this when everybody looks at his statue. This person in the background helps keep that edge to the drama.
I'm saying fun quang to you, but I don't have time to unwind it. Wash. Get her started. Zoe, ship is yours.
Bye, hon. We promise not to stop for beers with the fellas. So, are we gonna sing army songs or something?
If I'm not going to talk, then you have to. What else? We just got to keep our heads.
I like the documentary-style roaming camera in this scene. The episode's director is not satisfied with the tense and funny bantering that is well written for these characters. The tension is taken to the next level by this shaky camera, and it also seems to add a lot to the sense of uncertainty and improvisation that these guys are now worrying about.
Once we know who it was took us.
Zoe and you, together in a tricky... Mal, she's my wife.
Huh?
What gives you the right to put her in a dangerous situation like this?
I didn't.
You did!
She ain't here, Wash.
No, but she would have been.
Okay. We've been together for a long time before you came along, Wash, and she's a damn fine-looking woman.
Never happened.
Here's one of the best short scenes in all of Firefly. It seems to me that if you want to make a tasteful scene that features torture, this would be it. I like the acting, the way that Malcolm pauses before he speaks, like he needs just a moment to shake off the torture before he goes back to his companion's personal life. Of course, we do learn in a bit that this is just a sort of coping mechanism.
Oh, you want me to sleep with her? Would that make you feel better?
Am I?
Imagine it'd do wonders for her, too.
Screw you.
Get in line. Okay, Wash. I'm gonna do it. Wash! Wash! Listen, first thing when you get back. Listen to me! First thing when we get back, I'm gonna take your wife into my bed. I'm gonna get me
Here, 6 shots and then just drop it. Keep moving.
This here's suicide. You do know that, don't you?
You really think you can mount a 2-man frontal assault on Niska, Skyplex, and Liv?
Technically, it's a one-man, one-woman assault. A unisex. Grenades?
Oh, yes. Thank you, dear. They won't be expecting it.
Right, because they ain't insane.
I just got a wave from Honora. No luck with the counselor.
This line is the writers covering their butts. I doubt that all of us are wondering why the counselor is not helping. But ever since Star Trek introduced the idea of extreme story continuity, writers of an action-adventure like to make sure that no one can fault them on the details. You will hear stray lines in most Joss Whedon, Tim Minear plots that are doing just that. Perhaps this is because, for these guys, the integrity of the plot is paramount, though usually such a line would be done a bit more creatively.
Suicide.
I like how Malcolm is coping with this misfortune and staying pretty cool under pressure without engaging the big bad villain in some sort of Hollywood, or dare I say, Buffy-esque battle of the wills, where people are trying to intimidate each other and piss each other off.
We're starting a book club? What are you, trying to torture? Trying to torture me?
Yes, today we meet you.
The writers of this episode are smart and clever at the same time. They know that this part of the story is about Mal. The villain is just a stand-in for Malcolm's nightmare. The real interesting part is in watching our hero take it all without freaking out. And it's all done with a lot of cleverness.
For you, I have a special machine. Very precious.
And they say people don't look like their pets.
Let us see if we can meet the real you.
See that? The camera stays on Mr. Torture Assistant while he smiles. This is important because the writers of the episode did not want to kill off Mr. Primary Villain, assumedly because they want to bring him back in a later episode. However, War Stories is ultimately about revenge, and some nasty villain needs to get it in a vital body part in order to provide closure for this bout of adrenaline. So the episode features Mr. Secondary Villain here, posing with an evil smirk. And that perhaps helps us forget about the copious poetic license being taken as Niska gets away, like all serial villains should.
It's like throwing a dart, Jane, and hitting a bullseye 6,000 miles away. That's my man.
You guys better get down to the bay. We'll be at their front door in less than a minute. I'm right behind you, baby.
Book, you good?
Yes, ma'am. Ready when you are.
This rescue preparation with everyone acting professional, efficient, and curt, I suspect we have all seen before. But this whole sequence, including the later fight scenes, nonetheless work very well. This is probably true because it feels realistic. No one is acting too cool for you, and they are all acting as I would expect them to before a big event like this. This is all helped by the fact that the plan is very well explained to us viewers, and so we can focus our attention on the various characters' reaction. I like the use of camera work and editing here. The director is successfully showcasing Book's skill.
Understood.
And in that vein, we are getting a bit of surprise, aren't we? Slobbering evil villains have the most rotten luck in Firefly, don't they? In Objects in Space, the bounty hunter Jubal Early reaches a similar who knew moment, and Crow, the big menacing guy with the tattoo and train job, also finds that he has made a horrible and kind of funny miscalculation when he issues his threat. If I may be so bold, Joss Whedon is obsessed with the very traditional dramatic scenario that comes after the statement, "You are about to die." Here's one of the more obvious of those moments, but one of Firefly's strengths lies in the story about people in utterly desperate situations. And as despicable as Niska may be, I suspect that Whedon has some sympathy for his Sean Yu philosophy, namely what happens to a person when his life is forfeit. Here's one of my favorite lines in these 11 episodes.
Wife suit.
It's great to watch a show that can be witty without just being funny.
You done good.
Did you tell her?
Tell her what?
Your husband has demanded that we sleep together.
Really?
Wash has actually hit upon something here. He talks about this pretty stupid suggestion, and we get some more of the patented mutant enemy corniness in this exchange here, but the trial by fire, or lust, is actually a good idea.
That was the torture talking, remember? The torture?
He just has it reversed. He suggested that Zoe and Malcolm need to purge their suppressed emotions, but instead it is Wash, of course, who needs the purging. And if you ask me, the torture and rescue has done it.
I understand. We have no choice. Take me, sir. Take me hard.
Well, something about that is just downright unsettling.